I was 26 when I realized my boss had perfect hands. That sounds stupid, I know, but I'd been working at the marketing firm for 3 years, sitting across from Elena Vasquez, in meeting after meeting, and somehow I'd never really looked at her hands before. Long fingers, no rings, nails clipped short. She used them when she talked, cutting through the air like a conductor leading an orchestra. Michael, are you listening? I blinked. Yes, sorry, the Henderson account. She raised one dark eyebrow. Elena was 42, though you'd never know it. Sharp suits, sharper mind. She'd built the firm from nothing, and everyone either wanted to be her, or work for her. I've fallen into the second category. Until recently. The Henderson account is bleeding money, she said. I need you to fix it. Me? Unless you have someone better in mind. I didn't. The Henderson account was a nightmare. A luxury watch company with a CEO, who changed his mind every 48 hours. 3 people had already quit over it. I'll handle it, I said. She smiled just barely. Good. We'll work on it together. Late nights probably. Hope that's not a problem. It should have been. I had a girlfriend, sort of. Cassie and I had been together for 2 years, but lately we'd been more like roommates who occasionally had awkward sex. She worked in pharmaceutical sales and traveled constantly. I couldn't remember the last real conversation we had. Not a problem, I said. That was the moment. The moment I should have said no, should have passed the account to someone else, should have recognized the hunger in my own voice, but I didn't. The late night started that Thursday. Elena ordered Thai food and spread the Henderson materials across her desk. Her office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and at night the lights looked like scattered diamonds. She'd taken off her blazer. She wore a cream silk blouse, and I could see the outline of her collarbone. Michael, yeah? You're staring. My face went hot. Sorry, tired. Don't lie to me. She leaned back in her chair, studying me. If we're going to work together, really work together, we need honesty. So I'll start. I'm attracted to you. I have been for months. And judging by the way you look at me, it's mutual. My heart hammered. You're my boss. I'm aware. I have a girlfriend. I'm aware of that too. She stood up and walked to the window, her back to me. The city lights reflected in the glass. And for a moment, she looked like a painting, something untouchable and perfect. I'm not asking you to do anything, she said quietly. I'm just being honest. You asked for my honesty, whether you knew it or not. Every time you look at me like that, I should have left. I should have walked out of that office and never looked back. Instead, I stood up and crossed the room. I stopped a foot away from her, close enough to smell her perfume, something expensive and subtle, like cedar and vanilla. Elena, she turned. We were close enough now that I could see the tiny lines around her eyes, the silver threads in her black hair. She'd never bothered to hide. She was beautiful, in a way that had nothing to do with youth or perfection, and everything to do with presence, with the weight of who she was. Go home to your girlfriend, she said. I went home. Cassie was already asleep. I lay next to her in the dark, listening to her breathe, and felt like the worst person alive. I hadn't kissed Elena, I hadn't even touched her, but I'd wanted to, and somehow that felt worse. The next morning Cassie left for a conference in Denver. She'd be gone for 5 days. She kissed me on the cheek at the door, distracted, already mentally somewhere else. Love you, she said. Love you too. I wasn't sure if either of us meant it. At work I avoided Elena. I sent emails instead of stopping by her office. I ate lunch at my desk. I told myself I was being professional, but really I was being a coward. On Tuesday, she called me into her office. Sit down. I sat. Henderson loved the new pitch, she said. Signed a 3-year contract. Biggest deal we've closed this quarter. That's great. It is. She folded her hands on her desk. Those perfect hands. It's also our last project together. I'm transferring you to the Reeves team. Different floor, different supervisor. My stomach dropped. Why? You know why, Elena. It's the right thing to do. Her voice was firm, but there was something underneath it. Something that sounded almost like pain. You have a girlfriend. I'm your boss. This can't happen. What if I don't want the transfer? That's not your choice. I stood up. My hands were shaking. What if I broke up with Cassie? Don't. She looked up at me, and her eyes were fierce. Don't blow up your life for something that might not even work. Don't make me that person. You're not making me do anything. Michael, listen to me. She stood up too, came around the desk. I've been where you are. I've been the person who throws everything away for passion, for some fantasy of what could be. It doesn't work. It never works. You end up alone and bitter, and wondering what the hell you were thinking. Is that what happened to you? She looked away. I was married once. To my business partner. We built this company together, and then we destroyed each other. He got the house. I got the firm. It took me 5 years to stop feeling like I'd lost something irreplaceable. I'm not him, I know. Her voice softened. That's the problem. We stood there inches apart, not touching. The air between us felt electric, dangerous. I'm going to ask you to leave now, she said. And I'm not going to see you again, outside of company meetings. That's how this has to be. I left. That night, I broke up with Cassie over the phone. It was cowardly and terrible, but I couldn't wait 5 more days to admit what I'd been avoiding for months. We were over. We'd been over for a long time. She cried. I cried. We said all the things people say when something ends. The apologies and the regrets and the promises to stay friends that we both knew were lies. When I hung up, I felt empty and free at the same time. I didn't tell Elena. I took the transfer to the Reeves team, worked on different accounts, saw her only in passing. She'd nod, professional and distant. I'd nod back. The whole firm probably thought we hated each other. 3 months passed. I was good at my job. Better than good. Without the distraction of Elena, I threw myself into work, pulled in 2 major clients, got a raise and a promotion. I was a junior account director now, almost on her level. I also started dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee and dinners, and the occasional hookup. It was nice, uncomplicated, empty. In October, the firm threw a party for its 15th anniversary. Open bar, rented ballroom, everyone dressed up and pretending to like each other. I wore a suit I'd bought specifically for the occasion, and felt ridiculous and handsome at the same time. Elena was there, of course. She wore a black dress, simple and elegant, and held a glass of wine she barely sipped. She stood near the windows, alone, watching the party like she was studying something for work. I told myself not to approach her. I told myself to find someone else to talk to leave her alone, to respect the boundaries she'd set. I walked over anyway. Hey. She turned, smiled slightly. Hey yourself. Nice party. Expensive party. I'll be annoyed about the budget for weeks. I laughed. God, I'd miss talking to her. How have you been? Busy? You? Same. I paused. I broke up with Cassie that night after you transferred me. Her expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. I'm sorry. I'm not. Michael, I'm not telling you this because I expect anything, I said quickly. I just wanted you to know. It wasn't about you. Not entirely. We were wrong for each other. Had been for a long time. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I'm glad you figured that out. Are you happy? I asked. Really happy? She looked out at the party, at all the people drinking and laughing and playing their roles. I'm successful. That's usually enough. But is it now? I don't know anymore. She finally looked at me, really looked at me. And I saw it all there, the loneliness and the fear, and the want. I keep thinking about that night in my office. About what might have happened if we'd been braver. We could still be brave. You work for me. Technically I work for Reeves. Technically, she said. And almost smiled. The party swirled around us. Someone made a toast. Someone else laughed too loud. And Elena and I stood by the windows. 2 people who'd spent 3 months trying not to want each other, finally admitting the truth. If we do this, she said slowly, it has to be real, not an affair, not some secret. I'm too old for that drama. What are you saying? I'm saying that if you ask me out, I'll say yes. And if this works, if we actually work, I'll deal with HR and the board, and whatever consequences come. But if you're not serious, if this is just about the chase, tell me now. My hands were shaking again. I'm serious. Then ask me. Elena Vasquez. I smiled. Would you like to have dinner with me sometime? Yes, she said. I would. We had dinner the next week, and the week after that. And within a month we were together, really together. She told the board. There were meetings and paperwork and a few raised eyebrows. But Elena had built the firm, and no one was going to tell her who she could date. I transferred to a different division entirely, just to keep things clean. It wasn't easy. We fought about work, about boundaries, about her need for control, and my need for independence. She was difficult, and brilliant, and stubborn as hell. I loved her more every day. 6 months in, we were in her apartment, cooking dinner together. She was chopping vegetables with those perfect hands, telling me about some crisis with a client, and I realized I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy. I love you, I said. She looked up, surprised. We hadn't said it yet. We'd been dancing around it, both too scared to go first. Say that again, she said. I love you. She put down the knife, crossed to me, and kissed me hard. When she pulled back, her eyes were wet. I love you too, she said. Even though you're terrible at chopping onions. You never let me near the onions. Exactly. We both laughed, and I pulled her close, and thought about all the choices that had led us here. The late nights, the transfer, the party, the moment I decided to be brave. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones you almost walk away from. The ones that scare you, that break all your rules, that force you to admit what you really want. Elena was all of those things, and I wouldn't change a single moment. I was 30 when Elena's ex-husband walked back into our lives. We'd been together for 3 years by then, living together for 2. Her apartment had become our apartment, though I still sometimes called it hers by accident. We had rhythms now, routines. She made coffee in the morning while I showered. I cooked dinner while she answered emails. On Sundays we stayed in bed until noon, rooting and talking, and ignoring the world outside. I thought we were solid, untouchable. I was wrong. His name was David Carrington. I knew the basics, because Elena had told me early on, back when we were still figuring out if we could trust each other with our histories. They'd started the firm together 15 years ago, married young and ambitious, built something extraordinary. Then the marriage fell apart, slow and ugly, until they couldn't stand to be in the same room. He'd taken the buyout, moved to San Francisco, started another company. She'd kept the firm, and promised herself she'd never mix business with love again. Until me. He wants to meet, Elena said. It was a Tuesday night. We were on the couch, her legs draped over my lap, half watching some documentary about ocean life. She'd been staring at her phone for 5 minutes with a strange expression on her face. Who does? David. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Why? He's in town for business. Says he wants to catch up. She looked at me. I haven't seen him in 4 years. Not since we finalized everything. Do you want to see him? She was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. Part of me is curious. Part of me thinks it's a terrible idea. What does he do now? Tech consulting. Very successful apparently. Married again. 2 kids. So he's moved on. Seems like it. She set her phone down. Would it bother you if I met him for coffee? Yes, I thought. It would bother me a lot. But I was 30, not 26 anymore. I'd learned some things about relationships, about trust, about not being the jealous boyfriend who made everything about his own insecurity. It's your decision, I said, but I'd like to meet him too. Eventually, if he's going to be back in your life. Our life, she corrected. Our life. She kissed me. I'll tell him no. Elena, I mean it. You're right that it's my decision, and I'm deciding no. He's part of my past. I don't need to revisit it. But her phone buzzed again an hour later, and again the next morning. David kept texting, kept pushing, and I watched Elena's resolve start to crack. Not because she still loved him, I didn't think, but because she was curious. Because there was unfinished business there. Things they'd never properly said goodbye to. Just meet him, I finally said. Get it over with. You're sure? I'm sure. She met him on Thursday at a cafe downtown. I went to work and tried not to think about it, tried to focus on a campaign I was developing for a new client. It didn't work. I kept checking my phone, waited for updates that never came. She came home at 6. I was in the kitchen, pretending to make dinner, but really just moving things around on the counter. Hey, she said. Hey, how was it? Strange. She dropped her bag on the counter, and rubbed her face. She looked tired. He looks older. Happy, I think. He talked about his wife, his kids, showed me pictures. That's good. He also offered me a job. The knife I'd been holding clattered into the sink. What? He's starting a new venture, marketing and brand strategy for tech startups. Huge budget, huge potential. He wants me to come in as a partner. 50-50 split. My throat felt tight. In San Francisco. In San Francisco. We stood there in the kitchen, the words hanging between us like smoke. Elena moved to the window, stared out at the city we'd built our life in. I told him no, she said. Did you want to say yes? I don't know. She turned to face me. Michael, I built the firm here from nothing. It's mine. But it's also exhausting. The board, the politics, the constant pressure. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to start fresh, to build something new with someone who understands that world. Someone who isn't me. That's not what I meant. Isn't it? I couldn't keep the bitterness out of my voice. David's a businessman. He speaks your language. I'm just the guy who used to work for you, the one who got promoted because we're sleeping together. Stop it. Her voice was sharp. You know that's not true. You earn every promotion. You're brilliant at what you do, but I'm not David. No, she said quietly. You're not. The silence that followed felt like falling. I turned back to the counter, gripped the edge hard enough that my knuckles went white. I need to think, Elena said. Not about David, not about the job, about what I want, what we want, where this is going. I thought we were happy. We are, but happy isn't always enough, is it? Sometimes you need more than that. Purpose, challenge, growth. And you can't find that here? With me? I don't know. Her eyes were wet. God, Michael, I don't know. I love you. I love what we have. But I'm 45 years old and I'm starting to wonder if I've gotten comfortable. If I've stopped pushing myself because it's easier to stay where I am. With me. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? She closed her eyes. I'm saying I need some space to figure this out. I moved out that night, just grabbed some clothes and my laptop, and went to stay with my friend Jake. Elena didn't try to stop me. I think we both knew that if I stayed, we'd say things we couldn't take back. Jake lived in a tiny apartment across town with his girlfriend Maya. They set me up on the couch and didn't ask too many questions. Just let me sit there in my misery, and occasionally offered beer or pizza or distraction. She'll come around, Jake said on the third night. She's just freaking out. Maybe she should take the job. I said, maybe she'd be happier. Would you go with her? To San Francisco? I don't know. My whole career is here. My life. Your life is wherever she is, man. If you love her. But that was the question, wasn't it? How much of yourself do you give up for love? How much compromise is too much? I'd already left one relationship because it wasn't right. I didn't want to twist myself into something unrecognizable for this one, even if I loved Elena more than I'd ever loved anyone. On Saturday, my phone rang. David Carrington. I stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. Hello, Michael? It's David. Elena gave me your number. Hope that's okay. What do you want? To talk. Face to face if you're willing. I know this is weird, but hear me out. We met at a bar near my office. David was tall, fit, silver-haired. He looked like someone who ran marathons and gave TED Talks. He ordered whiskey and got straight to the point. I didn't know about you, he said. When I reached out to Elena, she never mentioned she was seeing anyone. We'd been together for 3 years. I know, she told me. He swirled his drink. Look, I'm not trying to blow up your relationship. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? The job offer is real. The opportunity is real. But I also offered it because I wanted to see if there was still something between us. Elena and me. My jaw clenched. Is there? No. He said it firmly. I saw her, and I felt nothing. Nostalgia maybe, but not love. I love my wife, my kids, the life I built after Elena and I fell apart. He leaned forward, but Elena felt something. Not love either, I don't think. But doubt, fear. This sense that she's been playing it safe. With me, with everything. You, the firm, her whole life. He paused. She's terrified, Michael, of getting comfortable, of stopping before she's reached whatever impossible bar she set for herself. And I think meeting me reminded her of who she used to be. Hungry, reckless, willing to risk everything. So what am I supposed to do with that? Stop letting her run. He finished his whiskey. Elena's brilliant at a lot of things, but she's terrible at being vulnerable. She'd rather blow everything up than admit she's scared. Don't let her. Fight for this. Why do you care? Because I didn't fight for it. When things got hard with us, I let her push me away. I took the buyout, moved across the country, and told myself it was for the best. And you know what? Maybe it was. But I've always wondered what would have happened if I'd stayed. If I'd made her talk to me, instead of letting her retreat into work and silence. He stood up, dropped cash on the bar. She loves you, he said. More than she ever loved me, I think. But she's going to sabotage it, unless you make her face what she's really afraid of. He left. I sat there for a long time, thinking about fear and love and the ways people destroy the things they want most. Then I went home. Our home. Elena was there, sitting in the dark living room with a glass of wine. She looked up when I walked in. I turned down the job, she said. Why? Because it wasn't really about the job. It was about running away from something I'm afraid of. I sat down next to her. Close but not touching. What are you afraid of? This. She gestured between us. Being happy. Being settled. I keep waiting for it to fall apart, because that's what always happens. Every good thing in my life eventually ends. Not if you don't let it. But how do I stop it? How do I stop being so terrified that I destroy the one thing I actually want? You trust me. I took her hand. You trust us. And when you get scared, when you want to run, you tell me instead of making unilateral decisions about our future. She was crying now. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I love you, and I nearly ruined everything. You didn't ruin anything. I pulled her close. But we need to figure this out together, not you deciding what's best for both of us. Not me just going along with whatever you want. Together, she repeated. We sat there for a long time, holding each other in the dark. It wasn't fixed, not completely. There would be more conversations, more moments of doubt, more work to do, but we were doing it together now. That was what mattered. David flew back to San Francisco the next day. Elena sent him a text thanking him for the offer, and wishing him well. He responded with a single word, good. I never told her about our conversation at the bar. Some things were better left unsaid. But I was grateful in a strange way that he'd come back into our lives, because it forced us to confront what we'd been avoiding, to choose each other deliberately instead of just drifting along. 3 months later, Elena stepped down as CEO of the firm. She stayed on as creative director, less management and more of what she actually loved, the work that had made her start the company in the first place. She was happier, lighter. We got engaged on a random Tuesday. No rain, no plan. Just her looking at me over breakfast and saying, let's get married. Yeah? Yeah. We were married 6 months later in a small ceremony, with close friends and family. David sent a card. I read it before the wedding, then showed it to Elena. It said, choose brave. Always choose brave. We did. We do. Every single day.